I was sitting in my car on the side of the road at 2 a.m. when I saw it sprint across the street. At first, I thought it was a person. Then I realized no person could move that fast, and definitely no person looked like that. This happened 2 years ago in the Sacramento area, and I'm still trying to make sense of it. So settle in, mangle that like button, because these are the true accounts. The Sacramento Runner. It was winter, late January or early February, I think. I'd just gotten off my shift at work. I was working nights at the time, and I wasn't ready to go home yet. Sometimes after a long shift, you just need to decompress, you know? So I pulled over on Antelope North Road, right before the turn into my neighborhood. The street is pretty typical for suburban Sacramento. Neighborhoods on the right, fields and scattered trees on the left. Quiet, empty at that hour. I was scrolling through my phone, half zoned out, when movement caught my eye. About a quarter mile up the road, near where the neighborhood park is, Roseview Park, something emerged from between the houses. Even from that distance, I could tell it wasn't right. It was tall, really tall. I'd guess 7 or 8 feet if it was standing fully upright, but it was hunched over, moving in this weird, loping gait. Its arms were way too long, and it was skinny, like unnaturally thin, emaciated. Then it started running. I've never seen anything move that fast. Not a deer, not a dog, nothing. It crossed the entire width of the road in maybe 2 seconds, a blur of pale limbs and jerky, inhuman motion. Then it vanished into the field on the opposite side. For a moment, I just sat there, gripping my steering wheel, heart pounding in my chest. My first thought was that I'd imagined it, that I was overtired and my brain was playing tricks on me. But I couldn't shake the image, the way it moved, the proportions of its body, the speed. I drove home, locked all the doors, and barely slept that night. For weeks, I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was a homeless person on drugs. Maybe it was someone in a costume. Maybe I really had imagined the whole thing. But then I started talking to people. One of my coworkers mentioned she'd heard rumors about white walkers in the woods near Loomis, a wooded area just outside Sacramento. People had been seeing tall figures with pale white faces and black hair. She said it gave her a bad feeling, like something was watching her when she drove through there at night. I started digging online. That's when I found the reports. Turns out, Sacramento is a hotspot for sightings of these things. People call them pale crawlers or crawler humanoids, and the descriptions are almost always the same. Tall, thin, pale skin, long arms, incredibly fast. There are stories from all over Northern California. Someone camping in the Sierras, someone driving through Loomis, multiple sightings near Sacramento suburbs. One Reddit post stood out to me. The person described seeing something almost identical to what I'd seen in almost the exact same area. They said it looked human-like, but definitely not human, that it sprinted across the road faster than anything they'd ever seen. That's when I knew I wasn't alone. But here's the thing that really messed me up. About 6 months after my first encounter, I saw it again. I was driving home from work again, same route, different night. This time it was closer, maybe 100 feet ahead. It was standing at the edge of the field, half hidden behind a tree, just watching. I slowed down without meaning to. It was like my brain couldn't process what it was seeing and needed more time. The headlights lit it up for just a second. Pale, hairless skin, sunken features, arms that reached down past its knees. Then it turned and bolted into the darkness, moving with that same impossible speed. I didn't slow down the rest of the way home. I've done a lot of research since then, Some people think these things are a type of cryptid, an unknown species that's adapted to living in forests and abandoned areas. Others think there's something paranormal, demons maybe, or interdimensional beings. There are theories that they live underground, in cave systems, and only come to the surface at night. That would explain why they're so pale, no sunlight. It would also explain why they're so fast and agile. If you're hunting in the dark, you'd need to be. Some reports say they're aggressive, that they chase people, that they make screeching sounds, but in my case, it didn't seem interested in me at all. It was just there, doing whatever it is these things do. I'll be honest, I still drive that route, I still work nights, but now I keep my car doors locked and I don't pull over anymore. Because out there, in the dark, something is moving, something that doesn't belong, something that maybe we're not supposed to see. And once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. If you live in the Sacramento area, keep your eyes open at night. And if you see something tall and pale sprinting across the road faster than anything should move, just keep driving. I was driving home late one night when something appeared in my headlights that I'll never forget. It was crouched in the ditch, pale, hairless, and absolutely not human. This happened in August 2018 on one of the most remote highways in Canada, and what I saw changed everything. The Hay River Highway. I'm a miner from Hay River, Northwest Territories. I worked 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off at a mine site way up north. It was mid-August, near the end of my summer vacation, and I was driving home alone on Highway 2, the Hay River Highway. If you've never been up here, let me paint you a picture. It's one of the most remote roads in the country. Dense boreal forest on both sides. No streetlights, no houses. Just you, the trees, and whatever's living out there in the darkness. It was late. I was tired. I'd been on the road for hours, and I just wanted to get home, crawl into bed, and sleep for about 12 hours straight. I was maybe 3 or 4 miles from town when my headlights caught something in the ditch on the left side of the road. At first, I thought it was a wolf, or maybe a wolverine. I've seen plenty of wildlife on night drives through these woods, but as I got closer, my brain started screaming that something was wrong. The thing was crouched on all fours. Its skin was grayish-white and completely hairless. Its head was bald, no ears that I could see, and its face. God, its face. It had dark eyes and this cruel-looking beak-like mouth. Its legs were long and thin, tapering down to feet I couldn't quite make out in the grass. Then it saw me. I could see it register my presence. It bared those beak-like teeth, crouched lower, and then it launched itself at my truck. My heart stopped. I gripped the wheel, bracing for impact. But instead of slamming into the side of the vehicle, the thing turned mid-leap and started running alongside me, on all fours, keeping pace with my truck. I floored it. The speedometer climbed, 60, 70, 80 kilometers per hour, and I didn't look back until I was pulling into my driveway in town. My hands were shaking. My whole body was shaking. For the next few days, I tried to convince myself it was nothing, a trick of the light, exhaustion. Maybe I'd hallucinated, but deep down, I knew what I'd seen, and it terrified me. A couple nights later, I was taking out the garbage after dark. My house faces the river, with woods directly across the street. As I walked down my driveway toward the curb, This overwhelming sense of dread washed over me. I kept scanning the tree line, waiting for something to move. When I put the garbage can down, I physically could not turn my back on those woods. I had to backstep the entire length of my driveway, watching the darkness until I reached my truck. Only then did I turn and run inside. That's when I realized the encounter had affected me more than I wanted to admit. I started telling people at work. Nobody knew what it could be. I searched online for hours, looking at images of animals, trying to find something, anything that matched what I'd seen. Nothing came close. Then I asked myself the question I'd been avoiding. What if it was real? 3 weeks after the encounter, I drove back out to the highway. I had to know if it left tracks, because hallucinations don't leave tracks. Demons don't leave tracks. But animals do. The sun was setting as I pulled up to the spot. And there it was, a skid mark on the gravel shoulder, right where the thing had launched itself toward my truck. My heart was pounding. I got out with my phone recording video, but I wouldn't step off the pavement. I scanned the area, got what I needed, and got the hell out of there. I called my buddy Tim. He's a hunter, a trapper. If anyone would know what this was, it'd be him. He came out with me and looked at the tracks. He said they looked similar to a goat, but admitted goats aren't native to the area. And the tracks were old, 3 weeks old, so it was hard to say for sure. But they were there, physical proof. Over the next few weeks, I became obsessed. I checked an old gravel pit every morning for fresh tracks. On the 12th day, I found them. 2 sets, like a mother and offspring. I started searching the woods for a den. I found more tracks near wolf prints, which made me think these things might be scavengers. On September 17th, I discovered an old drainage culvert that had been covered with fresh vegetation, like something was trying to hide it. I set up trail cameras. When they didn't catch anything, I crawled inside. It was empty, unusually clean. I sent photos of the tracks to biologists and experienced trackers. None of them could identify what made them. I still don't know what I saw that night on the Hay River Highway, but I know it was real. I know it left tracks, and I know it's still out there. I raised my flashlight toward the ditch and froze. There, crouched low in the beam, was something I still can't fully explain. Too short to be a deer, too big to be a raccoon, and absolutely nothing like anything I'd ever seen before. That thing, whatever it was, changed everything. This is what happened on a cold October night in 2010, just outside Effingham, Illinois. The Casbah Encounter. It started like most weekend nights when you're young and bored. Me and my 2 best friends, Gwen and Kirsten, decided we'd go check out some supposedly haunted places in the country. We'd heard about this old cemetery called Casbah, deep in the woods, about 30 minutes from town. Sometimes people call it Casbah or Ramsey Cemetery, depending on who you ask. The place had a reputation. Local ghost hunters loved it. There were stories about a witch buried in the back of the graveyard, about caves in the surrounding hills, about something people called 1,000 eyes that watched you from the darkness. We didn't buy into all that. We just wanted an adventure. Around 1 a.m., we stopped at a gas station for sodas and snacks, then headed into the country. The roads out there are narrow, winding through fields and scattered patches of forest. No streetlights, just our headlights cutting through the October darkness. I was driving. Kirsten was in the passenger seat messing with the radio, and Gwen was in the back, half asleep. Then I saw the eyes, 2 yellow points of light reflecting in my headlights, just off the side of the road past the ditch. At first, I thought it had to be an animal. A dog, maybe. But as we got closer, the shape behind those eyes started to take form, and my stomach dropped. It was crouched down, almost like it was waiting. The body was wrong. Too thin, too angular. The arms were incredibly long, hanging down past where its knees would be. And the skin, God, the skin was this pale gray color, completely hairless. It looked human, but it absolutely wasn't. I felt my mouth go dry. My hands tightened on the wheel. I think I whispered something like, "What the hell?" under my breath. Then Gwen's voice exploded from the back seat. "What is that?" The thing's head snapped toward us, its eyes locked onto the car, and in that moment, every hair on my body stood on end. This wasn't fear. It was something deeper, primal, the kind of terror that lives in your DNA, left over from when humans were prey. Kirsten started screaming. I couldn't make a sound. We were right in front of it now, maybe 15 feet away, and I could see details I wish I couldn't. It was probably 7 feet tall if it stood up. Its mouth hung slightly open. Its fingers, claws, gripped the ground. Then we passed it. I watched in the rearview mirror as it sank back into the darkness, disappearing like it had never been there at all. All three of us started screaming at once. I slammed on the gas and we tore down that road like something was chasing us. We never made it to Casbar Cemetery that night. We went straight home. I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those yellow eyes staring back at me. For months, I tried to convince myself it was something else. A person in a costume, a trick of the light, my mind playing games, but I knew what I'd seen. And so did Gwen and Kirsten. We all saw the exact same thing. 6 months later, I was hanging out at a friend's house when she got a text from her cousin. She turned her phone toward me, and my blood ran cold. It was a photo, a trail camera image of something crouched in the woods at night. Pale, thin, with long arms and a hunched posture. It looked exactly like what we'd seen. My heart was pounding. My hands were shaking. She said her cousin caught it on his trail camera 1 town over from Effingham. I immediately sent the photo to Gwen. Her response came back in seconds. "That's the thing." Later, we found out the photo was fake, part of some internet creepypasta. But at the time, it didn't matter. What mattered was that we weren't crazy. We'd seen something real. I started researching. I combed through paranormal forums, cryptid databases, anything I could find. That's when I discovered other people had seen it too. On a Facebook page called Weird Effingham, Illinois, there were reports of creatures with glowing eyes near the cemetery. In 2011, another person posted about seeing the same thing in the same area. In 2014, I found a Reddit thread where someone described an almost identical encounter. Then I came across the word ghoul. In folklore, ghouls are creatures that live in caves and feed on the dead. They're drawn to cemeteries. And Casbar Cemetery? It's surrounded by caves. It hasn't had a burial in over 50 years. But that doesn't mean the bodies aren't there. Everything fit: the location, the appearance, the behavior. Some people have called these things pale crawlers. Others say they're demons or some kind of unknown cryptid. There's a whole subreddit now, r/crawler sightings, where people share their encounters. Hundreds of stories, thousands of reports. I still don't know what we saw that night, but I know it was real. If you're ever driving through rural Illinois late at night and you see something crouched by the side of the road with eyes that glow in your headlights, don't stop. Don't slow down. Just keep driving. because some things aren't meant to be seen.